Item B on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve as presented?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second, sir.
Moved by Director Parks, second by Director Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. We'll do the flag salute led by Director Clark, followed by the invocation by Director O'Connor.
If you'd all please stand and place the flag, put your right hand on your heart and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you.
If you would join me, please. Heavenly Father, I just want to come before you and thank you for just to be able to serve on this board, Lord. I just ask that you be with each and every one of us as board members, that we do your will, Lord, and that we do what we're called to do or elected to do to help this community. Lord, I ask that you be with the cities that are under siege right now with riots and different things that are going on, Lord, and just that ask that you keep everybody safe. I ask now that you be with us as we make these decisions, as we have our conversations, and that you just continue to be with our community, Lord. I ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Item 3 is the mission statement. It's on there for anybody that wants to read it. Item C is the public comment portion of the meeting. Is there any public comment today? Okay. Yeah, and just please state your name for the record, and it's just 3 minutes, but you can say whatever you want under the public comment.
Thank you. I'm John Wilson, and I'm here. I've been in the ER quite a few times with my daughter and myself in the past year. And there's 2 things that have come up. One is the ER is filthy. Floors are dirty. On 2 occasions when I've had her there, there's been like dirt and hair and blood, not only on the floor, but on the gurney. The nurses there are pretty cool about cleaning it up when I brought it to their attention. I brought it to call and talk to housekeeping 2 times. I tried to call and speak with somebody named Mark Gordon, extension 332.
Yeah.
Left a couple messages and haven't heard back. You know, but the issue is my daughter comes in, she's got her head bleeding and there's blood on the gurney and blood on the, you know, bed itself. That's an issue. The other is sometimes the quality of care is getting the ER is not all that great. Earlier this year in the canyon, I got a piece of hay in my eye when I passed a hay truck. Came out here and the ER doctor called the doctor in Bakersfield, my doctor, and sent me to Bakersfield and had me sign an AMA that I was leaving without against medical advice. He sent me there. Gave me drops to put in my eye. When I got there, the doctor there said, "Did you put these in your eye?" I said, "Yeah." The ER doctor, because you shouldn't have been given those. I had something in my eye. And if I had put it in more than they had put it in, if I put it in another time, it probably would have caused more damage to my eye. There was a piece of hay in my eye. I've taken her up there within the last month. She felt twice and she had a big goose egg on her head. They barely did vitals. Didn't even look in her eyes and say she had a concussion. You know, screwed. It's the quality of care. I was telling Mr. Clark, I've lived here 30 years in OR, OT and PT. I have friends who were in the skilled nursing facility. That part's great. ER is sketchy at best. If I can go to Bakersfield, I go to Bakersfield just to avoid, you know, just substandard care. You know, it's not like I don't know. I was an EMT. I was a paramedic for a little bit. And so I know what you should expect in the ER. But cleanliness, that ER should smell like, you know, rubbing on. You shouldn't have dirt on the floor. You can scooch it with your foot, and there should never be blood on, you know, the gurney. So that's just something that I don't think is addressed because 2 times in a row I was in there.
Okay.
So that's my concern. I don't know what other people's complaints have been, but that's my.
No, I appreciate it. I'm Tim McGlone to see you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your you're bringing those comments to me today. We will make sure that gets addressed. Keeping staff in there. Well, it should not be that. But thank you for that.
Very welcome.
And where is Mark today?
Mark is still there.
Heidi at the.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, can we bring that to his attention as well, that he's left messages for,
Yes.
okay,
And
okay.
maybe have them call them back, at least personally.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, I understand when the years busy, that concepts like that. Patient out. But the 2 times I was there with her, there was open beds, and we didn't wait like a couple minutes to get back there. So there's no cars in the parking lot, so it's kind of indicated how busy.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I mean, like I said, I bought the housekeeping once. It calls back from this report, so.
I will follow back up before the next month's board meeting to see if any progress has been made and if anything has satisfied your grievances here at this board meeting today.
Well, it's just more about this.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, I appreciate you coming to the meeting, Mr. Wilson, voicing your concerns about the ER. So,
I appreciate you taking the time to listen.
yeah, and you're welcome to stay throughout the rest of the meeting,
I'd
but
like to check it out.
absolutely, that's fine. Well, then this is Mr. right here. So, is there any other members of the public that want to speak? Going twice. Anybody on Zoom? Okay, we'll continue on with the meeting this afternoon. The next item is the consent agenda. These are all routine, non-controversial items that can be approved with one motion. Unless somebody wants to pull an item.
Motion to approve.
Okay, there's a motion to approve the consent agenda by Director Elliott. Is there a second?
Second,
Second by Director Elconin. All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda is. Next item is reports. Chief Executive Officer report, Tim.
Pleased to announce that we have hired June Talafas as our new laboratory manager. He will be starting July 7th. We had actually hired him before, and when the final offer went out, he turned that down. He had some concerns, and so we started looking at other resumes and so forth. And I had asked Cassandra to give him one more call back. Just kind of find out why, he was turned down, because he was the one that everybody was most impressed with, and so forth. And so when he brought his issues to my attention, stuff like this, it was nothing we couldn't deal with.
Right.
And it wasn't money issue or anything like that. So it's, he accepted this morning. So starting on July 7th. So again, the power outages that we've had is been causing us a little bit of problems. The good news is our new generator worked great yesterday. The Tesla battery system kicked in immediately. I mean, the lights barely flickered. We were in my office for a meeting and stuff like that. But you can tell when it goes silent, against the batteries are on. And so, like I said, we had to actually go out and turn off the battery in order to get the generator to kick in, because it was sensing the power from the batteries. So once we did that, it ran off the generator for the rest of the night. And so, but that was great. The good news is, or the bad news associated with that is the fact that it truly highlighted, because this was an extended outage. Normally, if we get outages up here, it's maybe 2 hours or something like that. This was until midnight last night. So I mean, it was down for a prolonged period of time. That obviously impacted our pharmacy, and because obviously, their cash registers, their computers, everything runs on power. Same thing with the clinic. And I got a note from Greg this morning. Obviously, when we have a ton of patients scheduled for the clinic, we lose power for a whole day. That's a big deal. We were supposed to be down today from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And it's possible that it may be out tomorrow and even Saturday as well. So we did receive notice that it will be going probably down around 4 p.m. this afternoon. So, because the winds you can see are starting to pick up again. So, Greg's request obviously was to add an emergency generator to the clinic. And John and I talked, we really felt that, we probably need to be looking at the new building down the street as well, because we're relocating the pharmacy to that spot. And then, depending upon how long it'll take to get that new building open, a temporary generator for the pharmacy now. So just to make sure that we can continue operating, because like I said, that created a huge backlog, obviously, for the scripts that were due to go out yesterday. So we have a backlog of about 300 scripts down there that trying to get processed and stuff like that. So luckily today we haven't gone out, so they've been getting ahead of it. But if it goes down again later this evening or tomorrow, that will create another issue. So anyway, I think it's a good investment. Again, we had talked with Southern California Edison before about leaving this zone open because of the healthcare issues going on, and they had been up until this last year, they'd been really good about not taking it down for these kinds of things because of the hospital. But once they knew that our generator system was up and running, they basically said, well, this is your problem now. So anyway, so we have to do this for safety issues. That's what they're doing. So anyway, I'll be working with Bob, and we will start getting some quotes for generators and stuff like that. We'll take those to the auxiliary. We've got about 500,000 account, stuff like that. So, see what we can get done. So, and what else? We are also, in line with the pharmacy issues and stuff like that. We've been in touch with Joshua Graham down at the post office. He's been real helpful in trying to get things set up for us. There were some concerns and fears raised about theft of mail out of the boxes and stuff. Based on the records they have, it's less than 1%. And so he gave us some great ideas on some things on how, from a packaging perspective and so forth. Suda has written a policy and procedure to go ahead and get started and do that. We're also, John and I and Suda met yesterday to look at getting the personal delivery service started as well. We think you can get that kicked off pretty quickly. So between both of those, I think we could have a good opportunity to offload some of that business out of the pharmacy and get these things delivered directly to the patient. So,
You're talking about the pharmacy now, can I ask?
yeah, sure.
Oh, shoot, I lost my train of thought. How many potential scripts could there be if, and my question was Rite Aid.
Closes.
It looks like it's gonna be, I do Facebook, I think like everybody else.
Right.
And
July 1st.
July 1st, that was the latest thing. Is anyone else going in with their, we know they're going out?
We've been in touch with the pharmacist down there, the chief pharmacist. He's told us that as far as he made aware, it's a hard close July 1st. That they did not have anybody else at this time that is willing to buy the property or business or whatever. So, as a matter of fact, he's even expressed an interest in possibly coming work for us later. So, but I'll get into that a little bit later.
Scripts that they have been doing, did he give you a number of what
They were doing about 200 plus a day, because so much of that business had already migrated over to us. So, in the last 2 or 3 weeks since the rumors started going around about the closure, we've been seeing a lot more of that business fight its way over to us. So I don't know what they've got left yet.
So the best case scenario.
Yeah.
We were the last one standing.
Yeah.
Could we accommodate the public?
We believe we can.
Okay, well, do we sort of know?
Yes.
Okay,
We kind of increase hours at the pharmacy too. That's the other.
Yeah, what we're doing right now is we're obviously, we're adjusting the hours to cover the lunchtime period, which is something the board has asked us to do. We are also, we just hired a new clerk that's willing to work the weekends. We have a potential pharmacist that's also willing to come and work Saturdays and Sundays. which is something we're gonna need, because like I said, if Rite Aid closes right now, there's no other way.
We're the only one here.
Right, and patients coming out of the ED that have scripts that need to be filled have to get them, right then, so, we're on top of that and trying to get those 2 days covered and so forth, so. He's got one of the positions covered already. We just need to get the pharmacist nailed down, and we know the pharmacist from Rite Aid has told us he'd be willing to pick up those days. So,
Okay, well, thank you.
you got it. State budget. The state budget they're supposed to vote on this Friday, tomorrow. What we're hearing coming out of Sacramento is that they are still planning on taking the $1.5 billion from the MCO tax program that the voters approved as part of Prop 35 last year, which was to keep that money in play for the providers, for the physicians in the hospitals, stuff like that. So that money is being taken into the general fund. They did talk about some other issues. There was a proposed cost sharing that we were going to put on for people that if they were on Medi-Cal, that they had to be working, and that they were going to charge them $100 a month for them to get their Medi-Cal. The legislature has dropped that from $100 per month down to $30 per month, which is a lot more reasonable for the public. They also delayed the proposed elimination of the FQHC, RH, Rural Health Clinic PPS rates for state-only funded services until July of 27. So that pushed that back quite a bit. Not quite sure how that will impact us since it's state-only funded. And then they rejected the proposal sweeping the Prop 56 funding. That got turned down. So the good news was the legislature did support the administration's proposal to consolidate the non-designated public hospital supplemental fund. They're going to move that into AB 113. So those were some of the DISH funds, or the IGT type funds that we were getting. The MCO tax issues are still in play here, but this is one of the other IGT funds that apparently. They're also looking to eliminate the 9% IGT administrative fee of 9% that they charge us for passing. We pay monies to the health plans. The health plans submit the money to the state. The state takes 10% off 9%, then gives it to the feds. Feds match that, and then it comes back to us. But so the state doesn't contribute anything, but they take out their 9%. So they're willing to eliminate that. Beginning in 2026. So that's going to go into the budget. Then federal is up in the air at this point in time. We had a conversation last night, CEOs. Still a lot of angst going on because of some of the language that's coming out. Nothing's been in writing yet in terms of proposals, cuts. They're expecting those will be out next week. They're suggesting that the Senate may, in fact, push for more Medi-Cal cuts than the state, than the House was. That's not good news for anybody. But we don't know what that's going to be and what it's going to look like. So the House was taking an issue on executive action on state-directed payments. State-directed payments are like the MCO tax, the managed care. In other words, you provide this tax on the providers, and then they provide that up. It goes up to the federal government to pay. And I think they were saying that was kind of a I don't remember the word that the White House used, but it was not appropriate or proper from their perspective. So they're going back now and reviewing that at the Office of Management and Budget. And so there may be some changes to some of those kind of payment structure issues that do benefit us and the other public hospitals. And so that's coming to play.
Jim,
Yes.
the grant that we're going for, you're talking about the financing.
Yes.
And Bob walked in. I was reading a little bit about that and it was saying it's not that it's new, but it's fairly, and they said that the new president recommended that. Is that true? That would mean there might be funds available. The United States.
I don't know that he suggested that.
Okay, where did money come from? Where's the money coming from?
It is a program. It's still FEMA.
But it's not California, it is.
It's, you're talking the one we're currently.
Yeah, the one we're trying.
Okay, so what it is, it's FEMA money, but it didn't get eliminated as the funds that were being handled specifically by FEMA.
Mhm.
These funds are handed to the state and allowing the states to oversee them and deal with them.
We're specifically for what?
Yes,
they're
it is
designated
the
for.
hazard mitigation plan monies.
Right.
So for hazard mitigation.
So these projects still have to be approved by
Was
FEMA.
there new some
Right.
directions when they eliminated some of the other stuff? Was there FEMA, they dried it up? Was it recommended from outside of California that some of this go through? Is the money there? I'm asking how safe are we to look like we're gonna get something?
Well, I took a meeting in Bakersfield today on this, and the people from Cal OES stated that there is about $780 million in this particular go around. And they haven't even begun to gather the amount of requests because, as you remember, our request is going in early. So I would say the chances seem to be pretty good. As soon as we can get the county to push Senate on the application.
County has to agree. That's the first step. County's got to agree to submit this on our behalf again.
Yeah.
They've done it twice before and it went through without any problems. We don't believe there's
And
any.
those funds, I know you don't know everything, I'm asking what you do know.
Yeah.
Are those funds, if we do run low on money because of the amount of people wanting is it capable of expanding? And is it a possibility?
I don't know that the dollar amount will expand, but there's going to be a lot of requests in there related to the fires in LA. State. They basically figure that the monies will go fairly quickly.
It seems like a good need, the reason for having the funds. So it seems like something that could be refunded or refreshed.
Yeah, because Trump has made the statements that he wants these projects to be handled by the states.
Right.
And that's why even though the money's coming from federal, it's being handled by the states.
Specifically where there's a real need.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and they're very aware of the timeframes that we're under, because as you know, we've said before, April of 26, our building plans expire, as well as our building permit. So we've made that very clear to them that this has to be funded before that happens. Because otherwise it's going to cost us a huge amount.
And I have an update on that.
Okay.
Okay, so our architect went and met with Oshkosh, and explained they met with them on multiple issues, which I'm not going to go over at this meeting. One of the 4 issues for us that he presented to HCI was that we were ready to start. And then all of a sudden we got the funding pulled from under us by FEMA, and that we are working on getting it refunded. But there might need to be another request of HCI to do another extension. And the person he met with, which was have a lot of say so in it, said that would be doable.
Right.
Wow,
Really? That's great. Great.
You're doing a good job, no matter how much I pitch it. Thanks.
Not true.
Yeah, it's been a huge project. That's all. Bob's been really on top of that. So
Good, thank you so much.
you got it. We did have a break-in at our HR building. I don't know if that memo got out to all of you. Tried to send another one to you guys this morning on the power situation and stuff, and it wouldn't go if something happened in our system. Just
It went out. I got
this morning. Really? I got a Microsoft error thing that came through that said it was blocked. So anyway, that break-in apparently, we haven't been able to figure out who did it. Our outside camera, that we have a camera that looks down over the garage in the back, if that's where a lot of our records are stored and so forth. So, Terry was sharing with me that apparently there was a quick image of a guy's face from the side or whatever, split second, and then the camera went out. So they cut the wires to the camera and so forth, and then came in through the back door, apparently used a crowbar to get into the back of the garage, and then came in through the offices. They used a crowbar on Sanders' office and also on Mallory's office.
There's nothing in there.
Yeah, they didn't take it. Well, the only thing they took that we can figure out so far is the camera for marketing. There were gift cards in there, a bunch of them, on the desk. There was money. There was, computers everywhere. Yeah.
I don't steal those in there for some reason.
And so, yeah, none of that was taken. And the only thing that was taken was the camera.
What's the camera?
We don't know. It's just the one that he uses for doing events and stuff.
Just like a regular Nikon or something?
Yeah, not even that kind of stuff. Yeah.
It's just a digital camera that we take pictures with of events.
Okay.
Yeah.
We used to.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So there'll be a request coming for the camera. So, but anyway, yeah, it's like I said, unfortunately, we weren't able to. I mean, we filed a police report and everything. And, but again, we're not expecting anything. So we talked about the retail pharmacy. We're trying to get that open on Saturdays and Sundays.
Are you still in the pharmacy? Can I go back?
I'm re-talking about some stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Could we do this? I see so much on Facebook and different stuff, and could we do a story? I don't think we would need to pay for one, but could we do in the paper exactly and show the plans on what we're doing and the availability and the number of employees and what we plan we can do? Can we show something so people?
We've talked about that. I was interviewed by Channel 23 about a week ago, and with regards to the Rite Aid closure and what that was going to do for us and how we were going to address those issues.
Something from a leader to our.
Yeah,
It's something we'll certainly do, Gene. I want to make sure that we have all our ducks in a row, like maybe some real dates and stuff like that, because as well as
We're concerned and it's July 1st now.
well, we have made announcements that we're making these.
Yeah, what we're doing, what we plan on doing.
Right.
Doesn't mean we're gonna get it done, but
Yeah.
we plan on being open in 6 weeks
yeah.
at the maximum in a new location.
See, that's what I don't want to say quite yet until we
Yeah,
have all
right.
that ironed out.
Because we got to work with the border pharmacy, because border pharmacy's got to come in and inspect the site and everything. So it usually takes a month to 2 months.
Could we at least report what we know or think?
Yeah, we can do that.
Is that,
And it's probably okay to announce a date, and if it doesn't happen, blame it on the Board of
the
Pharmacy.
plan? Yeah, I mean, it's the plan.
Just show the layout.
Yeah.
We can show
Blame it
what
on-
our, yeah.
on, Ross, if it doesn't.
So anyway, so that was one thing, the Channel 23 report I did. I just did another one yesterday. It was Adam Schiff is pushing to have our FEMA grant restored. He does not want to see that funding cut. And so he's personally going after it, making it a mission of his to get that. So the Channel 23 interviewed him the other day. Then they came and interviewed me as well. That was on last night. It's on their website today. So, and we talked about it from the perspective of, again, we may not get that grant money back, but we are in the process of getting this other grant through FEMA and trying to get that approved. He said, well, I will certainly lend my support to make that happen if we can't do this. So either way, he was willing to support that.
He didn't lend his support when we waited 4 years with nothing.
Yeah.
He should have spoke up then.
That was, admit that I was a little surprised by the request. And, but I said, hey, I was not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth. I said, again, if someone's willing to help us, I'll take it. So, but anyway, it's, so a lot of different things going on. And then, just finally, just today is the anniversary of my hiring, and my working here, 16 years ago. So July 12th. So, it's been a pleasure. Those 16 years, I've enjoyed it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That's all I got.
Okay, any other questions for Tim? Questions from the?
I do have a
audience?
question,
Okay,
John.
we'll start with Director Elliott. Yeah.
You were talking about the IGT funds or the MCO tax where the proposition was approved by the voters and now the legislature wants to do something different with it.
Yes.
Can they legally do that? Can they override?
And this came up at our CEO meeting last night. Their response to the hospital association was, we're doing it. You have a problem with that, sue us.
Maybe we should sue them.
They are.
Okay, good.
So,
It's a $1.5 billion.
yeah, I mean, that's a huge chunk of change out of the reimbursement to the doctors and
Okay,
everything
so
else.
hospital association's on it.
Big time. Yeah, that was a huge one. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
You're talking about that. Most people don't have a clue. I don't think there's much public there in the governmental transfer on what it is, but we all know it, so I guess we don't need to explain what it is.
It's our lifeblood.
Yeah.
A lot of,
But if-
what happens is because, I'll just share real quick. Thank you, Chief. Because Medicare and Medi-Cal do not cover the cost of providing care, and especially in the state. And so what happens is they have the supplemental payments that come through that primarily make up some of that difference. And there's some of them that are for quality reasons. There are some for other metrics, things that we have to meet within the clinic and so forth. And there's the MCO tax issue that we talked about, which is a managed care organization tax. That's a tax that's placed on Kern Health Systems, Kaiser and others down, where they have to pony up money, but that money comes from us. They tell us in advance, here's how much your share is going to be. That's what I said before. Those get put together and then state takes their 9% off and sends it off to the government for matching. So that's what we're talking about. And that's upwards for us of $11 million,
About 10 to 11.
$10 to $11 million a year of additional reimbursement that we get to help offset some of those costs. And like I said, we've been lucky because of our cost structure and everything else that we've been able to hold on to some of those funds to apply towards our building projects. Because like I said, even if we get the FEMA grant, either one of them, we still have to kick in anywhere from 25 to 30% of the total project costs in order to get that 75 or 70% from them. So, so we've been lucky of being able to use some of those funds and hold on to them for a while for the community's benefit. So that's what we're doing. That's all.
But it's wonderful. It's there. If money gets tight, it's subject to all go away.
Sure.
And so, or part of it.
And again, what'll happen, I'm just, just comments I'm hearing from other hospitals and stuff like that. Because, again, everybody's got that seismic mandate on them. Our project's 33 million or 37 or whatever it was. I was upgraded.
37 now.
And so the other hospitals are 450 million, 440 million, one of the other ones. And so they got no idea where that money's coming from. And so, we've been extremely lucky to be, in the situation we are with this being a public hospital. We have funds that are available to us that aren't available to the others and so forth. And like I said, we've just tried to be good stewards of the money as best we can. And like I said, so if it doesn't happen and that money is all get shut down, or the reimbursements get cut, guess what? None of them are going to be able to meet those seismic mandates. So the state's either going to have to back off on those and just call it what it is, or they're going to have to close those hospitals because that's what the law stipulated they have to do. If they're not seismically compliant by 2030, They can't use them for acute care purposes. So we've been working to get ahead of that curve along with it. So
Thanks, Tom.
you're welcome.
Okay. Thanks, Tim. We don't have any old business today, so we'll move into new business. Item G, 4 items on here, starting with the position amendments. Dr. Chris Hall is an action item.
Let me explain what's going on here. The first two of these, which is Dr. Hall and Dr. Burrows, they fall in an ordinate number of shifts in the ED. And so as an incentive, you take on more shifts. They asked that we consider this an increase of $40 per hour to their rates. They're currently at $285 an hour. This would take them, I think, to $325 or something like that. And so this would only be for the shifts beyond the 12 shifts that they're contracted for now. So otherwise, they would be getting their normal rate. So if they work, let's say a total of 7 extra shifts or something like that during the month, I think it works out to less than $3,000 or something. So it wasn't a huge issue there. So again, we're requesting more. That's the only thing that changed on these. So just,
So can I make a motion for all 4 of them that we approve it as presented?
can, yeah. Unless there's questions on the others.
You recommend it. We don't have a lot of choice.
I have questions.
Okay,
I have lots of questions.
okay.
Go
In
ahead.
fact, I don't like opposing your recommendations,
I know.
but I don't like any of these, and I'll be
I know.
voting against all of them, and here are my reasons why. So these contracts were executed 3 to 4 months ago. So
These two were.
the doctors agreed to these contracts. They're freshly inked, and they're coming back and asking for more money now. I don't think that's appropriate.
Do we have any more of these that the public could have with people out there?
No, I didn't bring enough for the public. I
Okay.
just brought enough.
I can share mine. I've got some.
No, but
It-
Director, yeah, if you want to say it that way, the public knows.
Sure.
It's for the record.
And with a contract, usually it's mutually beneficial. There's something in it for both of us. This just benefits the doctors. And I don't understand why we would agree. We're not getting anything in return for increasing their pay. We have a situation where one of our ER doctors has violated the EMTALA Act. And that'll probably end up costing us thousands of dollars when it's all said and done. What I'd like to see in these contracts, every one of these physician contracts, is if you violate EMTALA or any other federal or state law, you pay a penalty of $25,000 per incident.
What is that? I don't know.
It's a federal law that says when you're in ER, you have to be seen by the physician and have a screening exam performed. They can't just turn you away.
Okay, so somebody got to, okay.
I would like to see our contracts have some teeth in them so that we have an incentive so the doctors don't do that.
Sure. I would agree with it. That's actually a good recommendation.
And when the physicians work basically 160 hours in a month, if that's their normal expectation, 12 shifts at 12 hours, 144 hours. But you or any of our staff here that works a 40-hour week, they're working 160 hours a month. So the doctors aren't even working as much as a regular employee would work. Yet we want to pay them more for that. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Let's kick it in after the 14th shift, not the 12th.
Certainly go back and
Could they be working, Ross, under stress, under certain times if they're working on more than one person? Could it create stress? And I don't know anything about being a doctor or.
Yeah, me either.
I know
I'm just going by the
it
numbers.
sometimes.
Yeah,
But could it be more of a stress that's related that could cause them to,
That's an
hours to
issue.
be longer?
Yes. When you get beyond that 12th shift, I mean, that's a lot of work. I mean, that's a lot of work.
Sometimes nothing's going on, but there's times.
but it's less time than all our other employees are working.
Get that. Well, our nurses basically work the 12-hour shift schedules too. So,
Okay.
you know, again, it's the other staff.
Tim, one of the
Yeah.
things,
Like, can I finish my list?
okay, yeah. But while you're talking, I want to talk about them also. at the same
Yeah.
time.
And all of these you're proposing to make them retroactive to May 1st, which I disagree with. If we're going to approve this, let's approve them moving forward.
Okay.
In the last year, 2024, the positions got a 29% increase in pay. A 1-year increase, 29% increase. And now they're asking for another 9 to 14%.
It's keeping up with the market rates.
They signed the contracts 3 months ago. They're good for 3 years. Let's live with the contracts we got.
The other thing, Russ, well, it comes into effect if they work too many shifts. We get enough doctors in there, they won't have to.
They won't have to work those shifts. It'd be a moot. Like I said,
Well, except for the new contract.
Well, true, but that's sucking up some of the shifts, so that's helping us actually.
Okay. Well,
It's actually a little bit less than what they were asking.
Yeah, so.
You know, we've talked about, I know John has put some effort into doing an RFP for our physician services. I sure would like to see the results of that RFP and see where it comes back. Because, you know, do the physicians understand if we didn't pay for their liability insurance and if we didn't do the billing for them, their patient billing, their cost would be a whole lot more?
Sure.
Did they factor that in
It's
to?
standard, you know, in all the ERs. I mean, they pick up those costs and so forth. So it's kind of like, well, that's just a part of the package.
And if we didn't do that, that's where the 175 that you get on the internet, that's where that comes in, because they do their own billing, they get additional 125,
On top of
150.
that, right?
Yeah, on top of it for their physician fees, professional fees.
The Rs are included.
We're doing that, we're billing and collecting those here.
Also, you know, we've got these looming cuts from the federal government. We don't know what's going to happen if we're offering raises now when we don't even know if we're going to have revenue to pay the bills we got.
We understand.
Um,
We've had those
I think that's
conversations.
terrible timing and I just don't think it's justified right now under these circumstances. And for the new physician, Green.
Yeah.
You know, if he can't accept the $275 an hour rate, which is $475,000 a year. And he's gonna hold out for $25 more an hour. Tell him thank you, but no, goodbye.
He's
Look for somebody else.
he's basically filling in holes and so forth. It's not work. It's not planning to work.
Yeah, but he wants his contract at $300 an hour. I don't
Was the
think
going
that's
rate.
justified.
Right.
Going rate by who? I don't know that. That's anecdotal information that I don't have in front of me. I don't have anything that shows me that's the going rate
Yeah.
to anybody. We don't have an RFP to see what our market rate is. I don't think this is justified. So I can't, in my mind, I'm not
You
gonna.
want to
approve
modify it? You said you not, but do it, you want to do part of it and not go retro? You have something you'd want to recommend?
Well, you've already made a motion to approve, so I'll be voting
Well,
against
I'll
that.
withdraw that
Okay.
Yeah,
and we can modify it.
yeah, unless there's a second, but there's no second at
Just a
that
second.
point.
We can modify it to where no retro and a reduced amount.
I just want to make a statement.
Oh, okay,
Every one of these things, like Ross had already mentioned, was brought up February, March date in these contracts. Why it wasn't in front of us back then when you weren't here to start with? I have a whole problem with it. Jim. Number two, I feel like we're rewarding these people for continued EMTALA violations. What the hell are we doing? Okay, I mean, is this your way of saying you guys are doing bad work and we're going to give you more
We're gonna
money
give
to
you more
make it
money.
better?
No.
I don't agree with any of it.
Certainly understand.
So I just want to let you know that I don't agree with any of it.
Sorry. Honestly, I'll go last, but,
The violation that you're talking about, this is not exactly violation, but I've had a few people complain to me here and there, not much, because I don't listen too much to complaints, but they said if they go in there and they're really sick, they feel like they got pneumonia or something, they want a chest X-ray. They can't get it. They want them to stay there all day long before they'll get them a chest X-ray. And when we go into emergency, or when they go into emergency, they end up going, or between the group of them, recommend each other, just go to the ER down on downtown. And they'll do the X-ray in-house right on the spot and get what they want. Are we doing what we need to do?
We
Are we-
do chest X-rays. We do the CT scans. We do that 24/7. We have staff here around.
So somebody comes in with chest pain or
Yeah.
chest, like
Absolutely.
you got the flu or something.
Yep.
They can pretty readily get the chest X-ray.
Yes.
Then
What
why
is-
Dr.
why are we facing what we're facing right
What's-
The issue is not so much that they didn't get it done. The issue's been, of course, getting the reading back from radiology group. That's where the delay is coming from. It's not the doctors here. It's the radiology group.
I thought we had that where it's available.
We do. They have a night service. And matter of fact, we're working with that group right now to try to get off of that service. And just because, again, of these significant delays, and we've reached out and we're talking to them,
Okay,
trying to figure out why the heck it takes so long. You know, again, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, you know, and there's absolutely no reason why they can't kick them out
we
faster.
get good money for the ER
Yes.
visit, so it looks like we would want to perform.
No question.
Okay.
No question.
Okay.
Ron, do you have any input?
Yeah, I don't, well, thank you first, Ross, for providing this information and your points. But I understand, that it's not something I would vote for either at this point. We have a lot of looming other things that we don't know what the outcome's going to be. So, yeah, and since it was the second, I don't think we need to go through with the vote, or we can,
There's no motion on the floor.
right, so.
Yeah, I withdrew mine.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go back for lack of a second anyway.
I mean, short of going back and renegotiating with these guys and say, this is not acceptable.
I'd like you to have the board back up behind you saying, we can't do this.
Do we just take, well, how do we get him to renegotiate?
You just direct me to do that. That's what
Do we need a
Send out the
motion?
RFPs also.
you don't need a motion.
Okay. Plus, that was a good, that was a good idea.
Well, and I also shared kind of similar concerns, but Ross was kind enough to put it all out here for me, so we don't have to rehash it. And I think it's important because we do have a member of the public here who voiced his grievance about the ER situation and,
It sounds like, from what you described, Mr. Wilson, that you were one of those EMTALA violations that the doctor should have cared for you and didn't.
Well, that's what the other doctor.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
yeah.
Can
I do
ask you a
too.
question?
Yes, you can, yes.
You were talking about the increase in hourly.
It's,
You said if it's 7 extra shifts, if they wanted to pick up, okay, so at 40 plus an hour.
Right.
Times 12, that's 480.
Right.
Times 7 is $2,800 a month.
that's correct.
You had mentioned 1,000, less than
I said,
1,000,
no, I said less than 3,000.
less than
3,000.
per each one, right?
No, for the total 7 shifts.
Yeah.
So in other words, they wouldn't all work 7 shifts.
Oh,
In other words, it's that if they worked more than 12, they would, if like say they worked 1, they would only get the 12 hours, but it would be at the higher rate. That's all.
That increase only applies to the doctors.
Yeah, yeah, not all of them, it's just the 2. So. But we're gonna go back and we're gonna renegotiate.
Okay.
So for action, can we just table it or do it in order?
We can table it.
We can
Bring
table
it
it.
back next.
Yeah, comments.
Thank you all.
So items 1 through 4 under new business will all be tabled too. the next board meeting in July. Now we've come to item H, director's comments, not appearing on the agenda. We'll start with Rec Parks. Do you have anything today?
No, we seem to go good, things to be. In that type of pharmacy, I would like to see more information to the public from the people that know what they're doing, which Tim
We'll do that.
is a person that can give us some hope for what's going on. That's pretty much it. Thank you.
Director Alfona, do you have anything?
I would just like to thank those that filled in for me while I was, out of the office, gone fishing.
Yeah.
And, again, I want to thank Ross for bringing, this information because sometimes someone taking the time and writing it down makes it, you see it, even though you may think it in your mind, when you see it in front of you, you're like, oh yeah, if it doesn't set right with you. Well, like for me, and I'm kind of debating why are we even, I know we need doctors and sometimes they're hard to find, but I'd rather find a new doctor that's willing to work more and, not cause us any deficit in our ER, which is always a big concern. And the way that they have someone sign out AMA, but yet give them a medication and send them on their way. So I just want to thank you for bringing that. And again, thank those that filled in for me while I'm gone. And I appreciate someone from the public being here also. So, and that's all I have.
Yeah. Director Elliott, do you have anything?
Thanks, John.
Mhm.
I also want to thank Mr. Wilson for being here. Thanks for sharing your thoughts and your concerns. We don't get to hear enough of that. I appreciate you taking the time to be here and bring your daughter with you. I hope that we can do better. Terry's group put out a Facebook post saying, tell your story. Thank you. I really appreciate the efforts on that. I'm really glad to see that starting to happen and roll forward. And I imagine there's going to be really good things coming from it. So thank you. And I've had some offline emails with Tim and Suda. And it sounds like that the pharmacy delivery thing is going to be happening very soon, quickly. So I'm really glad to see it. So thank you.
Mark, anything?
Most of it's been covered by the team, but I want to thank you as well for being here. Means a lot when we get members of the public that show up and tell us. Odds are we're not going to hear about it. Share with them.
Wish more people would come.
So are they. More than you know. But, I'm really disappointed that pharmacy delivery has not already happened.
We've got policy, it's just a lot of things that have to happen.
I understand that, but when I have someone here 2 months ago telling us we're ready to go, we've got everything, we should have already. If that said, I'll leave it alone.
Oh, and again, I also want to thank Mr. Wilson for coming to the board meeting today, and I wholeheartedly agree. It used to come to these meetings where there used to be like 50, 60 people in the cafeteria. I don't think we as an elected body can make effective decisions without getting public input. So I'd like to see more people from the public. Even if it's good, bad, or indifferent, whatever your experience is in the ER, this board needs to hear about it and direct you to the right person. And if Mr. Gordon, if he has some time, if you want to, or if he's, Mark, if you're available after the meeting, just talk to him real quick about his ER experience, if you have a moment.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't be here. I was
I understand.
in the exit interviews for the state survey.
I understand, yeah.
Happy to stay.
But again, thank you for the input. I thought this was a pretty productive meeting, and Ross, thank you for putting this together, because I had the same concerns, but you were kind enough to take the time to just write it all out.
See what being retired gives you?
Yeah, this must be why you're also the board secretary this year. With that, we do have to adjourn the closed session at 2:54. So thank you for coming out, and in the closed session. Have a good day.
Mark. You want John to say or no?
Yeah, I think, yeah, you can probably. All things go.
Hey, Mark,
Hi. You doing?
how'd the exit interviews go?
We had, there were three minor things. Now it seems like there's.
Thanks, Catherine.
So we did very well.
Okay, great.
That's why I was.
They were
In closed session, council and the board discussed Benson and Volkava. No action was taken. The board also performed an evaluation of the CEO. No other items were discussed.
We are adjourned at 4:25.
Do we have to go?
Thank you all.
Oh, I have
Thank
to
you,
sign
Scott.
that.